What's going on, guys? Alpha the Wizard back at it with another video. Today we're going to be continuing the meta history of Yu-Gi-Oh! And in today's video we are on 2008 Dark Arm Return format. Now in the previous video I covered Dark Arm Return, Magical Explosion FTK, and now we're going to be covering Diamond Dude Turbo. Now this deck did exist before Dark Arm Return format, abusing the Destiny Hero engine with Disc Commander and Dark Magician of Chaos, and then also abusing Dimension Fusion, which is at 1. However, Diamond Dude Turbo went through many evolutions, and now it became a very top tier deck, if you will, in Dark Arm Return format. It was a very good deck previously, before the September 2007 ban list, but now with the release of cards like Cyber Valley, Allure of Darkness, this deck got a huge boost. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive right into it. So to start things off, I'm just going to start with all the boss monsters. And of course, it wouldn't be a Dark Arm Return format if we didn't play 3 copies of Dark Arm Dragon. Now, Dark Arm Dragon is a central component to this deck, mainly because if we activate Reasoning and they call a 7, or even if we activate Monster Gate, Dark Arm Dragon cannot be normal summoned or set, so we're just going to bypass this card and keep on milling. So making this card really good in this deck. But in addition to that, of course, it wouldn't be Diamond Dude Turbo without Dark Magician of Chaos. Now this card was just a central component to this deck, and basically like the heart and soul, if you will, because it can just recycle any of your spell cards that you may have milled off Reasoning and Monster Gate. So yeah, Dark Magician of Chaos is like the heart and soul. And then the deck did opt to play 1 copy of Jinzo. It's a really good level 6 that you can hit off Reasoning. Odds are they're not going to call 6, so getting Jinzo is devastating, especially since it's going to cut off their return from the different dimension. It's going to cut off, many other cards like Crush Card Virus, things of that nature. Crush Card was very prevalent this format as well. And then the last of the big monsters we do play a singular copy of Different Dimension Master. This honestly was just a tech card in some people's builds, but the main reason you play this is it is a level 5, so it's very easy to hit this card off Reasoning, and you can discard a spell card to special summon one of your monsters that is banished. You can only activate it once per turn during the main phase, but that is okay. So this card is really good. And then also another thing to tie into this card is also being able to summon this card off Monster Gate. Half the time we do still play the Divine Sword Phoenix Blade, so being able to just banish a bunch of warriors from your graveyard to get back Phoenix Blade and then use this card is just so free and nets you so much advantage. And then in addition to that, we have the Destiny Hero engine, so we play Elemental Hero Stratos, which that's without a doubt probably the best searcher in this deck. But then in addition to Stratos, we have the deck's name in its entirety, Diamond Dude himself. So this wouldn't be Diamond Dude Turbo without Destiny Hero Diamond Dude. So Diamond Dude, we play so many normal spells in this deck that it's very easy to simply mill like an Allure of Darkness off of Diamond Dude, or like a Trade-In, or like, a Reasoning, Monster Gate. There's so many good options for this card. But then, the deck did evolve a little bit, and in this particular build, we're playing 2 copies of Destiny Hero Plasma. I really like Plasma in this deck over like a Destiny Hero Dogma or even a Dasher, because Plasma is a level 8, and we did just receive a card called Trade-In. Now, I don't necessarily play Trade-In in this particular build. A lot of Diamond Dude Turbo decks did play it at the time, but I personally just don't play it because I don't want to play too many level 8s. I'm focused on overall consistency, but Plasma also has its utility because it's a very hard card to out this format, and then we do play like a singular scapegoat just to be able to facilitate the Plasma in simplified game states. But then in addition to that, the last card to fulfill our Destiny Hero engine is Disc Commander. Disc Commander was so good back then before the errata, because if it was just special summon from the graveyard, you just draw 2 free cards. And there's no like conditions or anything. So yeah, that's really it for all the monsters. Now to go into the spell cards, which are the central piece of the deck, we have to play 3 copies of Destiny Draw. Destiny Draw, we play enough Destiny Heroes to be able to facilitate this card always being live. And then we do play 2 copies of Emergency Call. The reason why we play 2 copies of Emergency Call, we do play 2 copies of Reinforcements of the Army, but we want to be able to get to our Stratos as fast as possible, to be honest. And just having 4 ways to search Stratos is really, really good. But yeah, Reinforcements of the Army is at 2, so we really just want to have more ways to get to it. And if Emergency Call becomes a dead card later on, then we can just pitch that card with like a Magical Stone Excavation or a Card Destruction. There's many ways to get this card out of your hand. Also, Different Dimension Masters, another good way. Yeah, that's why we play the Emergency Call for only 1 target. But then we do have the deck's win con basically, and that is Dimension Fusion. Now Dimension Fusion is at 1 because this card was just so ridiculously good, and this is the card that got emergency banned May of this format. So back in the day, formats went from March banless all the way to September. So if there was any problems in between those months, they would have to release an emergency ban list, which hardly ever happened. It only happened a few times in history, but this format was so overpowered that they just had to outright ban this card. So many FTK decks emerged this format, and Dark Arm Return itself abused Dimension Fusion. But then in addition to Dimension Fusion, we do need our draw power, more draw power, so we play 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. Our whole deck is dark, so there's no reason not to max out on this card. Allure just is so good, and it inherently synergizes with the Dimension Fusion as well. So Allure is just so good in this deck, and there's no reason not to play 3 copies. But then in addition to Allure, we have 3 Reasoning. Reasoning is like another card that makes this deck function. It wouldn't be Diamond Dude Turbo without Reasoning, and of course Monster Gate. We definitely need all these cards to make this Diamond Dude Turbo, because it's very common for you to just open bad and normal summon like a Diamond Dude, and then mill like a Destiny Draw, and then activate Monster Gate, and then hit like a Dark Magician of Chaos, or a Jinzo, or even a Stratos to facilitate the engine. So yeah, Monster Gate is really central component to this deck. But then in addition to that, we do play the Divine Sword Phoenix Blade. So there's really not a whole lot of differences between the deck, Diamond Dude Turbo in 2008 and 2007. The key differences that you see in the spells is we are playing like the Emergency Call to try to facilitate it faster, but then we also have the addition of Allure of Darkness as well. So yeah, not too much has changed, but then of course we still play Magical Stone Excavation because being able to recycle any of our spell cards is just really powerful in this deck, and Stone Excavation is at 2 this format as well. But then since we do play Disc Commander, we play our Revival cards, Monster Reborn and Premature Burial. Just simply being able to revive Disc Commander, draw 2, and basically run through our whole deck is really powerful. But then we also play a single copy of Card Destruction. It's very common for you to end up adding 2 Divine Swords back to your hand because you've milled through a lot of your deck. And then simply just Card Destruction, the 2 Divine Swords plus however many cards you have in your hand, just for free pluses and free advantage. But then we also play a single copy of Monster Reincarnation. Very common for you to pitch a Divine Sword to add back a Destiny hero and then Destiny draw it away. And then we do play a single copy of Brain Control. This card is at 1 for good reason. But yeah, this card is super good because you can take their monster, tribute it for Jinzo, or it helps you get the Dark Magician of Chaos easier. But then we also play 1 copy of Heavy Storm. This is just so we can clear the board and then just proceed to go for the OTK. And then I do play a single copy of Scapegoat in this particular build because Plasma is just such an easy card to abuse this format. And a lot of people, a lot of decks would hard lose to Plasma if they didn't have the right cards to out it. And then last but not least, we do play a single copy of Lightning Vortex. We want to maximize on our normal spells, but then there are cards this format that are super hard to out. Simply Lightning Vortexing a Cyber Valley, it might seem really neg, but it's very powerful this format. But then people also played cards like Spirit Reaper, you know, things of that nature, or if they, you know, flooded the field with monsters and you can't out them, Lightning Vortex just deals with it pretty easy. But yeah, so that really does it for the updated Diamond Dude Turbo deck for Dark Armor Return format. This deck is really fun. However, Return Dad was just by far the superior deck. There was another FTK other than Explosion, other than like Diamond Dude Turbo. This wasn't really an FTK deck. This was more so just a go through your engine fast deck and then just try to OTK in following turns. But yeah, Diamond Dude Turbo is a really fun deck to play, and I would highly recommend trying it out if you ever want to play this format. But yeah, that does it for this video. Thank you for watching the Meta History of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I hope you got a lot of value from this. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe down below for more content. I really enjoy doing these videos for you, and it takes me back into history in a time where I really enjoyed Yu-Gi-Oh! The most. But yeah, that's it for this video. I will see you in the next one.